Hello, babies.
I mean, you'd think a guy that looks like me, dresses and acts and says shit like me would be like welcomed in a place like that, but nay, no.
Really?
I don't have the religious background to pass the test apparently, or the state license. So
Where'd they get married, in the field or something? Or like
had a skirt around it. There are details that I'm not at liberty to say, but we skirted around it. We got around the law.
Oh boy.
Fuck the man. Speaking of fucking the man, what do you say we start the show? The Simple Minds Sports Show, latest and greatest in New England sports. We're going to do some opening takes. And I know the email says one thing, but we're going to do a little bit differently. We're going to go in show order here. So, Ray, why don't you kick us off with your Celtics take, as behind me we see Game 2 kickoff in the NBA playoffs. Raymond, it's all yours.
The path was there. The path was simple. Giannis, gone. Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP now, hurt. Jimmy Butler, hurt. The Knicks, choke artists. We had a nice little path there. And what happens is the beard comes into the TD Garden and fucking drops 45 on our faces. I mean, boys, it's simple. You got one guy to guard, and you couldn't even fucking do that. It's all about the details. And Bobby's boy over there, Joey Maz, he ain't doing too hot. And I think the defensive efficiency that was lost with Ime and Brad is starting to show its ugly little face right now.
You guys doubted me at the beginning. You did. Called me out for it.
I had this thought today, Bobby, and I wanted to mention it. I was listening to a little sports radio myself, and they were kind of discussing it, and I had this thought, and it went like this. I fucking hate Joe Mazzulla.
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a real piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly we'll touch on the Celtics with the game going on behind us. We'll give you some live updates as we do the show here. It's going to be released on Friday, so it'll be old news, but new to us. I'll kick it off, or I'll continue the trend here. I'll go Bruins. And what was the epic collapse of Game 7, Round 1 for the most winningest NHL team in NHL history? What a choke job. What a classic, predictable Bruins choke job. I mean, there's so many inflection points that we could key on, and we'll touch on them on a lot on this show. But just I'll sum up the ending of this Bruins season in one word. A lot of people are calling it, travesty or collapse. I'm going to give you the word embarrassing, because forever until someone beats 62 wins or 135 points, this team is going to be linked with the greatest season in NHL history. And then you're going to look at how they performed in the playoffs, and it's going to continuously be embarrassing forever. Tough pill to swallow as a Bruins fan. So we'll touch on the inflection points in that. Yeah.
Can I say something real quick too? I guess that the 48-point differential was the most lopsided playoff victory of all time.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's correct. And we said at the time, best season of all time, certainly not the best team, but a round one exit. Woof. We'll get into it for sure. Bobby, your opening take.
Yeah, Patriots had their draft come through. I think everybody was very happy with the first round pick that came through there, Christian Gonzalez. That was a pretty big surprise. Saw him dropping, get to 14. They're like, no. We'll wait. We'll take him at 17. But any draft will ultimately be defined by how your first round pick goes. So your first two picks, Christian Gonzalez, Keon White, the draft will be defined by them. Everybody makes a lot of fuss about the rest of the picks. We'll go through there. But in order for this draft to be a success, ultimately, Christian Gonzalez becomes their number one corner. Keon White's a starting defensive lineman. And if one of those two wide receivers that popped through there can actually contribute in some sort of meaningful way, the draft's a success. But other than that, it's meat and potatoes stuff. Backup linemen, the kicker and punter, they'll probably play. So it is what it is. But the draft was never going to turn the season around, and all of a sudden them being a dynamic offense was never going to happen.
What a salient, moderated, boring point by you.
I'll pop off a little bit later about one pick, but I was trying to keep it sane for now.
Thank you very much.
He's trying to keep the bukacki off the wall right now.
Yeah. We gotta wait for the bukacki. It only comes once.
Exactly. So I'll get it later. It just
11:59 every Tuesday night at Irene's Bukacki time. We'll be talking about that. Not the Bukacki. We'll talk about the NFL
we're talking about my mother's Bukacki.
Celtics. We'll start with the Celtics. We'll go to the Bruins. We'll do the Patriots draft recap. We have a top 5 worst Boston losses. I've pinned it to our lifetime, but we can spin off a little bit if you'd like. But just the worst losses in Boston sports history. We'll go with the top 5 segment there. We'll, like I said, we'll do the Patriots draft and, of course, Simplest Minds of the Week. This is the Simple Minds Sports Show, Friday Rewind, May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I won't do an accent because
that's racist. We'll get canceled. We'll get canceled, yeah.
Arriba! Welcome to the show. That wasn't an accent. That was a culturally appropriate phrase.
Mm-hmm.
This next Corona's for you. And so is the next W energy drink, which is this show is brought to you by W.GG. That's where you want to go for all your energy drink needs or all your energy pump up, whatever you need. Whether it's a gummy or a shake or a drink, you want to go to W.GG and you want to type in promo code Simple Minds for 15% off all of your total order. That's W.GG. All right, let's start Raymond's point with the Celtics. They did drop game 1 to the 76ers. The Joel Embiid, the 2022-23 MVP, Joel Embiid, out of the lineup. The Celtics lost 115 to 119. Just felt like they were tossing it out there from the second the game started. No defense played whatsoever. You let the role players of the 76ers get rolling, and obviously James Harden had a career night. But the zero defense, the 76ers, who, of course, are known for their interior play with Joel Embiid, which I'll get to in a second. You talk interior play with Joel Embiid, but God, does he frustrate me watching. He's the biggest guy in the league, and he's playing like Steph Curry, even if most of his points are still 2-pointers. I'm off on a tangent. The 76ers shot 45% from 3. Like that, they don't even shoot threes.
They do.
They shot 45%.
They lead the league in 3-pointers.
That's not fucking true, Ray.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Their points come from 2. Their points come from inside the perimeter. Their lead scorer is Joel Embiid. You're not even fucking making sense. God damn it, Raymond. Just right off the bat. Right off the fucking bat. If I'm wrong, I'm going to cut this.
Philadelphia is ranked 1 right now, and Golden State's 2, Clippers 3, Denver 4.
Tell me that's the playoffs. Tell me that's the playoffs.
No, it's right now. It's the whole season.
Okay. We're going to check. We're going to go ahead and check that. Because it can't. Joel Embiid's your lead fucking scorer. How are the 76ers lead? I don't actually.
Because he's the only one that shoots. He's the only one that shoots 2s. Everybody else does 3s.
They said it all night during the broadcast, is that this is the hottest 3-point team in all season long, and now they're continuing in the playoffs.
They said it the opposite. They were saying that the 76ers are normally scoring from 2, and the Celtics are normally scoring from 3.
Poor announcing, sir. You made a choice to listen to those fools instead of listening to the bot pod who just dropped knowledge on you.
Suck it, bitch.
Bobby, can you give me your impression on the game? James Harden goes for 45. 2 double teams. I think statistically there were 2 double teams. Obviously, the game winner, Harden hit over Al fucking Horford, who's, again, as old as us. Just give me your overall take.
We're obviously operating at a disadvantage here because Boston is a terrible strip club place.
Thank
and
you, Bobby. You did
Harden is notoriously known for performing much better. Again, research provided to us by Raymond. Okay. He is, I'll tell you what, he has been providing some top-notch knowledge here, and James came with it. They didn't even really attempt to guard him. I think the term, since we are in a Cinco de Mayo show here, Olé, has a lot to do with it, because they were not really trying to stand in front of that man. And it was, without having Embiid there, it moved the ball better. Embiid is a ball stopper, just like Julius Randle is, how they're playing with him out and Knicks winning the series. I'm pretty sure Embiid being back in this game is better for the Celtics, but there was no defense. Joey Maz, he was playing NBA 2K out there, and it showed.
Raymond?
Well, the thing that it showed also is that Jason Tatum in the first half was hot. I think he had 20 points in the second quarter alone. He had 29, I think, to end the half. And then what happens in the second half? I think he had 4 shots. Like, they didn't give him the ball. Like, what was the whole purpose of that? Everyone needs to touch the ball. No, you have 2 hot shooters, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and neither of them got the ball in the second half. And that's atrocious. And as your coach, you should be calling timeouts and saying, hey, boys, these are our guys. Give them the ball. Let them cook. But no, he didn't. He wanted Marcus Smart and Brogdon and White and Horford and Williams to get their touches in the second half, and it was bullshit. That's what happens. You just don't have the prolific scoring in the second half like you did in the first half, and that's why you lost.
That's an interesting take, Raven. Most people are going with the defense, which I would agree with. And just as I'm distracted here, as we go through this, and now I'm looking up the actual statistics, 3-point percentage, the Philadelphia 76ers led by percentage of threes made.
Oh, here we
Attempts, I can't even find them on the list. This link won't take me to the next page, but they're well below top 10. They're not even on the list. You want to find attempts? So
your quote was 45% from threes for the 76ers. Not going to happen again. And what did you say? They are first in the league in percentage. Suck.
Raven
but they shot 40 fucking
day. Again, that was a perfectly salient reply to that.
God fucking damn it, Raymond. They shot more threes that game than they've shot basically the entire year combined.
What was your quote? You said 45%.
It wasn't a quote. It was in a fucking email.
Not gonna happen again.
While I was taking
and I fucking just trumped you again, motherfucker.
Well, first of all, we want a gentleman's bet, $25, Venmo. The 76ers will not shoot 45% from 3 for the rest of this series. Garrett won't do it.
You know what? Fine. $25.
You fat fuck, Fupa. They won't. And the fucking point that I was trying to make was the 76ers don't shoot 3-pointers, which you know, or you didn't because you're a bottom of the totem pole of dumb, and you just try to take something wrong with it, and you're too stupid to fucking actually back it up.
Your 76ers... fucking quote was that the percentage. What about the fucking shooting?
Damn it. Now I got to look up the fucking box score. Celtics, 76ers.
Hey, just say you're wrong, baby girl. It's fine. Just say, hey, I was wrong.
The Sixers do not shoot threes. They shit. Here's the whole point of this, which is not the fucking quote. It's, by the way, it's not a quote. You see any quotations on that, grammar guru? The fucking point is the Celtics played no perimeter defense. They played no defense, period. They went out there like it was a pickup game, back and forth, just Jason Tatum style. Go up there and no defense, nobody pressing you whatsoever. He drops 39 points. That's right in line with what Jason Tatum wants to do. It's just not how you win NBA playoff games. The 76ers do not shoot 3-pointers. They shot a shit ton of them the other night. They shot 38 3-pointers the other night. 38. You know how many Celtics shot? No, you 20. Don't. You 26. 26.
Close. Damn it.
38.5% from the best field goals percentage from 3-point team in the league, the Boston Celtics. So when I say that's not going to happen again, that disparity in 3-pointers shot and percentage-wise is not going to happen again, especially with Embiid back game 2. The 76ers are just not going to play the same way. Here's the bottom line. The Celtics did not show up to play in game 1. They played no perimeter defense. Joe Mazzulla made no adjustments as James Harden went off like he was back in Houston getting lap dances left and right, dropping the G every night. No adjustments were made. No defense was made. And yes, Tatum was cooking, and I can't even speak to whether they gave him the ball in the second half or not, to be frank, because I was so pissed off with how poorly they were playing defense.
I didn't. Yeah.
But here's what I'll give you to pivot to the next point. The last possessions or series or of the game, the big one obviously that's being made massive is Malcolm Brogdon giving the ball to Maxey at the shot clock violation with 22 seconds left for the 76ers to take the lead. Made me question everything that I've said negative about Marcus Smart in the past.
No.
Malcolm Brogdon was brought here to pick the opposite of that play. And he went ahead and just tossed them the ball to take the lead with 22 seconds left. Jason Tatum, to his credit, went on to hit 2 free throws to take the lead, and then obviously we had the Horford 3 to win. Go on. I know that was a ramble. Ray fucking set me. God damn it, Ray. God
just
damn
in this scramble where you went up to look at the box score, I just went to go look it up too, because I was just thinking I don't really remember much about what Jaylen Brown did in this game.
Nothing. There's a great
Well, let
point.
me tell you what he did do. He shot 8 for 10 and 8 for 10 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3-point. He had 23 points. He should have had the fucking ball more. He barely missed a damn shot.
I'll tell you this. Watching that game, Bobby, how many turnovers? Does it tell you how many turnovers he had? He had to have at least 5 or 6 turnovers.
Yeah, he had some bad ones in the first half.
He looked like shit. He really looked like shit. He had a massive 3-pointer that he hit late in the fourth. But watching it live, my mind's eye says he was really having a bad game, struggling to find his timing and his pace. So maybe look, the offense was not the problem.
It was the defense.
They didn't play any defense from the beginning tip. You can tell when this team's engaged and when it's not.
There was no game plan. There was no discernible.
No, they thought that without Embiid, they were going to walk out on that floor and blow them away. How many times does this have to happen to this fucking team for them to realize that that's not how things go? You just did it twice in Atlanta.
Each series.
Yeah. And it's the playoffs, too. I mean, you got to step up your defense in the playoffs. It's crazy right now.
It's
you can tell that
infuriating.
They took the foot off the pedal. I think they thought, like everyone else thought in Boston, just basically, holy shit, we have a clear path to the finals. We can take it easy now. No Embiid. Oh shit, now we really got it easy tonight. And they just came out and they looked lethargical, and they didn't do shit.
Horford and Brogdon admitted it. They said with Embiid out there, we were not as engaged or intense as we should have been. It's like how do you let that happen? How do you fucking let that happen? And you go back to 3 people. This is how you let it happen. 3 people.
When you say that, that's an indictment of Mazzulla, because he's the one that's supposed to make sure that urgency is there, and and your 2 senior players said it publicly.
Yeah, that's true. And your senior players, although don't leave out Marcus Smart because he's the most senior Celtic of all on the team. So it's important that you stitch that in writing. But the other 2 guys are Tatum and Brown. Those are really the guys. If Kobe Bryant would never let an Embiid-less 76ers team walk onto his court and pop a 3 in your eye to win the game, right? So your leaders on your team set your tone. And I thought Tatum played well defensively. I have no problem with Tatum this playoffs, honestly. I think he's doing a pretty good job. He's just not that type of guy. We've said it for years. He's just not the Kobe guy. He's not going to set that. You need somebody else to come in and do it. And Jaylen Brown is like hit or miss with it.
Jimmy.
I'm working on it.
Fucking, we need Jimmy.
Contracts on the fucking table. We're trying.
That'd be amazing.
Anywhere else? Where else do we want to go with the Celtics? Honestly, they dominated most of the rebounds. They won 38-28, assists 26-17. No free. This is how you know it was.
That was
a lazy, stupid, shitty game. Especially by the no free throws attempted in the first half.
2
by either team.
2 at the last minute of the first half.
Fine. What a shitty way to play. Like,
they're just letting him play, but that's what we always want. The refs just let him play.
But no, they were jacking threes. Nobody was going to the lane. Nobody was forcing the issue. They were just out there playing street ball. Nobody,
especially without their MVP center, they're not pressing the to the paint.
Honestly, Tatum got most of his points in the paint. The points to the paint, 66-42. The Celtics won 66-42. You should dominate a game if you win the points in the paint 66-42. But to Ray's point, the 76ers are the number 1 team in 3-pointers, I guess. So when they're burying that,
percentage,
that's all they meant. Embiid is back tonight. It's currently 14-10 in the first quarter.
Do you know who started tonight?
16-10.
Do you know who started
Marcus
tonight?
Smart was out, so I don't know who started.
I was wondering if they were going big tonight, because I think they needed to go big and have Rob Williams and Al Horford out there, just slow the whole pace down.
Grant's out there, so you'd expect to see a lot of Horford, a lot of Grant Williams against Embiid. I don't mind Grant Williams against Embiid. I don't get this whole anti-Grant Williams movement, by the way, this entire
No,
year.
I don't want him to start. I wanted Rob Williams to start, is what I'm saying.
I'm not sure who started.
Yeah.
Rob Williams is in now, so I would assume Grant Williams started, but we can look it up. It also doesn't matter. Embiid is back. Frankly, I don't know if it's going to help them.
If his knee's that bad, then no, I don't think it will. I think he's going to be just a anchor in the middle. That's it.
Celtics won 3 games against Embiid this year. In the regular season, they've traditionally owned him. He has that meme. It's not a rivalry. They kick our ass every time. I've had my problems with Embiid. I'll go on my little tirade here. You're 7'2", 300 pounds, and he plays with his back hunched like Quasimodo, like fucking Josh Durkis, trying to Steph Curry his way into an MVP. Like, dude, you can literally get the ball 4 feet. Just like look at a couple Shaq highlights. He could do that in today's NBA every single possession.
That's usually a name I haven't heard probably since high school was Josh Durkis. Like at least occasionally some other names get thrown around. But then like you said Quasimodo and then I didn't initially think him and then you said Josh Durkis. I was like, oh yeah, that hunchback little fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying that they the equivalent on the hunch or certainly basketball skills, but just
he
the
had
way
a medical
that
condition.
Yeah, maybe. I was gonna go somewhere that I'm glad I didn't. 2 drinks from now, I would have went there. And
good boy.
Anyway, I hate his game. I absolutely hate Embiid's game. Early in his career, he was such a dog in the bad way. He would just dog it in the playoffs, not show up. Always like lingering injuries as a 7-footer, that you expect then, I guess. But like, I just fucking hate Embiid. I honestly hate him. I hate his game. Good for you. You won the MVP. He's the perfect guy to win the MVP and then never win anything else. Raymond, your thoughts, him coming back, how do you take that? Does it benefit the 76ers? How do you think the Celtics deal with it? Go ahead.
I think it's going to hurt him. I mean, if he's hurt, they said that LCL sprain is 4 to 6 week sideline, and he's already back in less than 2 weeks, I think it is. So I think more or less he's going to be a nuisance out there kind of thing, and like he's going to get hurt even more. I think he's going to try to do too much on that leg. So I think it's going to hurt the 76ers in the long run, but let's see what they do tonight against Embiid as I'm watching you watch the game. What's the score?
It's 16-18 Celtics. Bobby, your thoughts on Embiid coming back?
I think he's a ball stopper. I think it actually makes him easier to defend. They have 2 players with size that can combat him. And when Embiid gets the ball, he kind of wants to shoot it. And when he shoots it, there is really no chance of any like secondary rebounds or scores. And he's not going to get threes. And they showed without him, they can play a different offense and score some threes in a way that it appeared it was more difficult for the Celtics to defend. So in some ways, I think it's more beneficial, makes it more predictable.
Yeah, I think you saw that literally in game 1, the way they played defense. They just kind of were ready to play against Embiid for whatever reason, even though they probably knew that he was going to be out and they didn't adjust. And I mean, the record speaks for itself. There are three wins against them. Here's the bottom line. The Celtics are a better team. They have not the top, you want to put Embiid in the top player injured. I'll still take Tatum over him. Jaylen Brown's going to be up there. The Celtics should win this series. And let's not forget, Doc Rivers is on the other sideline. The only NBA coach in the history of the NBA to give up 3-1 leads in the playoffs. Maybe that's what we should be looking for. Let's just go down 3-1.
Just so we right where we want him.
So we can get Doc right where we want him. Maybe that's what we're looking for. What I'm looking for right now is little headlines with the obvious one. Ray, I sent you something real quick if you can take a look at it.
Yeah, I saw that. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you there, Richard. The nut kicking to Boston sports fans continue. First, the Bruins were eliminated in Game 7 against the Florida Panthers, 4-3. These same Bruins have the most wins record and points record in the regular season and got bounced in the first round. The Celtics made it to the second round and played the Embiid-less Philadelphia 76ers and lost that game 119-115. James Harden led the way with 45 points and an endless Miller Lights at Penn's Port Pub when he returns to Philly. Game 2 is going on as we record. 18-16 Celtics are winning. The Red Sox have a pulse. They are on a 4-game winning streak and aren't in last place in the AL East anymore. There are 2 games left with the Blue Jays, with Nick Pivetta pitching tonight as we record and Brian Bayo on Thursday. They started a 3-game series with the Phillies starting on Friday. Finally, the NFL draft is over, with the Patriots selected 12 players this year, with notable picks corner Christian Gonzalez and edge Keon White. And finally, Mike Vrabel made the New England Patriots Hall of Fame And I ask you, gentlemen, who will be the next Patriot to make the NFL Hall of Fame?
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Easy. That was an easy one. Sorry. You want to go not Tom Brady?
Yeah, not Tom Brady.
Gronk. You want to go not Gronk? Does Edelman get in?
I think Ty Law is the next
I
one.
don't think Edelman gets in.
Ty Law's already
Hall
in.
of Fame.
Ty Law's
You
already in.
fucking idiot.
Oh,
God
fuck.
damn, you're so stupid. Bottom of the totem pole down.
Seymour just make it too.
Seymour's been in.
Seymour's been in for like 2 years.
So stupid. Does Edelman make it?
No.
I bet you Edelman makes it. I think that they've gotten so I don't agree that he should, but I bet he gets in there. And I think the rings, and he's got a couple 100-catch seasons. He might get in there. He might get in.
I mean, if anything, based off of like actual talent, I would say no. The only thing, it's just more like that you saw he was in so many nationally televised games,
right,
that he was such a high profile player and his best games were in those things, that maybe he gets it for that. But I mean, trust me, I love Edelman more than anybody, but I don't think he's a Hall of Fame guy. But to your point, they let in anybody.
I mean, you could argue two of Edelman's seasons, he was the best receiver in the league. A lot of that has to do with Brady, for sure. But like, obviously, Tim Brown is a fucking Hall of Famer, and so I think that the question was asked, who's the next one? Brady and Gronk are obviously the easiest ones. Frankly, Belichick might be the next one after that, depending on when he hangs it up. Although coaches can get admitted at any time, right?
No,
they don't have to.
No, I think it's still they have to not coach for 5 years.
Yeah.
Really?
Just like
that's why when
players,
who was it when somebody came back? Like who was it? Like Parcells or somebody? It restarted his 5-year clock.
Was it Parcells or was it Gibbs?
Maybe it was one of those guys that like restarted their clock.
Interesting. Yeah, those are your guys. You're not going to see Brewski or the Vrabels or Wilford.
None of the second tier
not.
dynasty guys are getting in. No Hightowers, McCourties, none of those guys.
Harrison,
no.
Roddy Harrison.
He's hate fucking Roddy Harrison.
I know.
He's in though, right?
No. I don't think. No.
Oh,
no, he didn't make it. So to answer your question, Brady, and then Gronk, and then Belichick.
They're probably going in the same class year too because they retired together.
Brady and Gronk.
Oh no, Gronk was 1 year earlier, so it would be Gronk first.
yeah, Gronk was.
Ooh, I've been proven wrong. So Gronk.
Ray gets him again.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Bruins epic collapse, losing Game 7 after setting the regular season record, 65 wins, 135 points. They lose in round 1. Let me just quickly give you the history of this. So the Canadians held the record for most points in a season, 133. That was the 1976-1977 Canadians. Had 62 wins, but had 133 points. Totally different league then, but whatever. From there, the Detroit Red Wings, 1995-96, got their 62 wins, less points. They ended up losing. The Canadians won the Stanley Cup in 76, 77. The Red Wings went on to lose in the conference finals to the Avalanche. And then most recently, the 2018-2019 Tampa Bay Lightning got 62 wins and were famously swept in the first round by the Blue Jackets, which is commonly forgotten in this conversation about the Bruins and it being the worst loss ever. Lightning basically just fucking did it a couple years ago, and they got swept, not a Game 7. So, however, the Lightning went on to win a couple championships, and I don't think we can say that about the Bruins on the horizon. So a little bit different there. Bruins are currently 0-3 as President Trophy winners in the modern era, at least in our lifetime. And just to go into that Game 7 specifically, the scope of the collapse within that series, they had a 3-1 series lead. In Game 5, they had they had 2 third-period leads, 4-3 and 5-4. They lost that game, Game 5. In Game 7, they were up a goal with 54 seconds left is when that tying goal happened. And then overtime came, and you could tell they didn't stand a chance. The pressure was too big. The moment was too big, whatever. The curse of the Tuukka Rask butthole tattoo came back to haunt this Bruins team yet again, Raymond. easy to pinpoint the start of where things went wrong. Their own zone was horrendous. You want to put that in a decor, I'll go with you, but you can bring in as many forwards as you want, tack on the goaltending as you want. Their own zone was absolutely horrible. But what's not getting talked about, or what I'm not hearing talked about, is their lack of aggression when in those positions to win the game. They sat back. They did not press the issue, especially in that game 7. You could see it happening. They had the 1-goal lead with about 6 minutes left, and you can just watch them float back in their zone and just let it all come at them. And that's never a recipe for winning. Like I said, goaltending was shit. Allmark had a debilitating injury, according
We'll
to
talk about it.
reports. Can't talk about it though, and I'm not going to disclose it. I'll keep going, and you can discuss. David Pastrnak, the guy that I've shit on a lot, actually showed up a little bit.
He
game
heard
7,
our show. He heard our show.
2 goals, had a nice goal in game. What was the through the legs goal? Game 5 or game 6? Game 6, because they lost that.
Yeah.
Showed up a little bit for what he's supposed to do, score goals. He didn't do much else, but he scored goals. So can't get really on him. I'll stop there, and then we can work down the individuals and their lack of showing up. But I don't know. Your overall takeaway from the epic Bruins collapse.
If if Allmark really did have this debilitating injury, then why the fuck was he playing in the playoffs? If it's that bad and they can't talk about it and it was serious, why was he there? You have a kid in Swayman, you don't have to ride, you don't have to go to every other game approach anymore. You could just ride with Swayman. So he actually did look better in game 7. I mean, you only gave up 4 goals compared to Allmark's 8 that he's been letting up in the fucking previous game. I mean, Jesus, you could have gone with him. And then Lindholm, the guy scored 54 points in the regular season in 11 playoff games with the Bruins, 0. He's been a goose egg. So yeah, it's the defense, like the top end defenseman and Allmark both shitting the bed, I think, is the big story to talk about with the Bruins.
Yeah, there's an easy second guess with the goaltending, especially when the eye test with Allmark, you could kind of see it a little slow, a little sluggish. There were not too many like terrible softies, maybe a couple, but certainly wasn't as sharp as before, and the defense left him out to hang to dry a little bit. So that's a hard call to make in the playoffs. But I'm with you. Game 4, game 5, you could have gone to Allmark instead of waiting to game 7. Bring a 25-year-old kid in after not playing for 2 weeks. That first goal in game 7 against Swayman, and that's a softie. You can't let that shit in. And the last goal, honestly, I know a lot of people saying it was tipped off McAvoy, which makes it a little tougher, but still, you're going to win a cup. If you're going to win a cup, I don't care if you're a Vezina winner or you're Swayman and Allmark, who had the best goalie tandem in the history of the NHL. If you're going to win a cup, you can be a bum off the street, and you got to make that fucking save. Mm-hmm. And those goalies make the save. The Stanley Cup winning goalies on those runs make those saves, whether they should or not. They do. So certainly bad there. Bergeron -6 in his 3 games played. Found out he's playing with a herniated disc. Suffered in the last game of the season, which he had no business being in.
Which we heard later on that you told us why he played.
Yeah, his dad was in the stands.
Yeah, because he's dying of cancer. It's probably the last time he's ever seen him play live.
I mean, that's hard. Like, it is sports. You it is like you're there for the romance of it. And if Bergeron's truly going to retire, which it seems like he is, then yeah, your last game in your home city, all your family's there and your father's there dying of cancer. You probably want to strap up and play on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Hurt him. Herniated disc.
Mm-hmm.
Played through it. Sucked. -6.
Ugh.
But honestly, watching him, I didn't from the eye test. He didn't suck. He just wasn't a difference maker. And he's a -6 because he's on the ice at all the crucial moments. And at all the crucial moments, the defense and the goaltending and the rest of the team collapsed and they gave up goals. So,
yeah,
time for him to go.
Like old Yeller, put him out in pasture.
You
got it.
I'll just run down this list of suckbags real quick. Krejci, I think it was a -5 or something, but he had that big goal in the last game 7. Felt like Pastrnak got going a little bit when Krejci was in there, whether he was playing with him or not, for whatever reason. Needed his binky. Marchand was clearly not himself, clearly playing injured. That game 7, that dude couldn't even make a pass. Couldn't even make a pass. I don't know what was going on with him. You mentioned it, Ray. Hampus Lindholm was an absolute puddle. Couldn't get out of his own zone to save his life. Couldn't make a hit. Just useless. McAvoy, trick or treat. I mean, that guy, game 7, sucked too. Turnover central. Game 2, turnover central. Do you expect more out of Charlie McAvoy, especially coming into his prime here? He needs to deliver all the time. Dmitry Orlov, trick or treat, a lot of mistakes, gave you something offensively, but in his own zone was shit like everybody else. Bertuzzi, same deal, produced offensively, shit in his own zone. Taylor Hall, your guy, Ray, the Bruins All-Star in the playoffs, sparked at times, looked fast. I don't know how much he created, but looked fast out there.
Yeah. Mm.
Good skater, eh?
Hey.
DeBrusque, mostly invisible, had a couple goals, whatever. Coyle was good. I think as Charlie Coyle goes, he did what Charlie Coyle was supposed to do.
He seemed like he was trying to get the team going with some hits.
Totally.
In game 7. Yeah. It seemed like he was trying to be a little spark plug, but
Coyle's a positive. DeBrusque, I'll give you a positive. You know, these are guys with lower expectations. Even Orlov is on the cusp.
Even Bertuzzi, though. Bertuzzi, earned himself a big contract this offseason coming up. Not from us. Oh, come on. That guy played his ass off in the...
He single-handedly lost them the game with that the first turnover in game 2, was it, or game 5? We just dumped it in front of his own zone. He sucked in his own zone. So did everybody else. And he was playing with top end. We'll see what kind of contract he gets. 4 or 5 million. But those are the guys that are positives, and we can still pick them apart. Taylor Hall was a positive, and he was almost he was just fine. DeBrusque was a positive. He was fine. Coyle was a positive. He didn't score any goals. I don't know what his point total was. It wasn't high. Maybe he scored 1 goal. The fourth line was the fourth line. You look at Montgomery, and you have to ask if there was too many line changes, or if they were too conservative with the lead is my big second guess. The goaltending is a second guess. But frankly, I don't really put on the coaching. Certainly don't put it on Sweeney. The players just fucking choked. Just choked. That's it.
Yep, pretty much. Or they were too hot early on in the season. I mean, I know that's cliche, but they went for a historic run. Most points, most wins, and then they fade. Usually the hockey Stanley Cup playoffs is whoever's hot at that right moment goes on to win it. You could be the A seed in the hockey playoffs and make it run to the Stanley Cup finals. And it looked like towards the end of the season, the Bruins were going on the opposite end. They looked like they were fizzling out. They were tired. They spent too much energy trying to get that record, even though they weren't trying to do it. So I think that's what ended up ultimately costing them the run.
Well, certainly the Bergeron injury had something to do with the Krejci wore down for sure. The older guys, you could say that for, but look, the most goals scored ever in the history of NHL playoffs in the third period happened in this series.
Yeah.
So that's to say the legs were still there. There were still guys out there performing. They went to game 7. It's not, they weren't losing games 1-0. I don't think they were worn down. They just fucking choked. They had leads. They had multiple leads. They were up 3-1 in the series.
Yeah.
It's a choke. It's a choke. That's all you can say. It's a choke. Real quickly, we don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but just the future. You think Bergeron has to go. You think Krejci has to call quits, right? Hang up the cleats. Not the cleats, the skates.
Yep.
Do you want him to? Do you want Bergeron back?
No. I'm fine with it.
Me
You got to go with the youth movement.
Yeah. Here's what I think is going to happen. If you look at the last 10 years of President Trophy winners, almost half of them, after the year they won the President Trophy, the next year they've gone on to make a pretty significant playoff run, if not win the cup. Bruins are a little bit different because of the Bergeron, Krejci, and the age and the cap situation. But I expect them to actually make a pretty decent run at the cup next year, or at least a playoff run, second round, game 6, game 7 type of thing, maybe even give the conference finals, because I think that's what history tells us. And they're still going to have a pretty good team. You're still going to have a pretty good team. If they can make enough moves, but dump one of the goalies, trade him for either a piece or a draft pick, sign yourself a top center, then you're going to be right in business. And I think they can stay competitive with their decor, especially if they bring Orlov back. So the Bruins aren't going anywhere. They'll be around, and hockey's hockey. Who knows? Maybe it just takes Bergeron in that. Well, I love Bergeron. Like he's a Mount Rushmore of Boston athletes in our lifetime, but good God, does his resume scream underachiever.
Yep.
Choker, underachiever, however you want to describe it. Jesus. We'll get to the top 5 after this, and the Bruins, his Bruins are on the list about 10 times.
He should have 4 Stanley Cup championships.
Well, 2 at least.
Well, okay, 2 at least.
Minimally 2. 13, they probably had no business against the Blackhawks.
Well, didn't he got hurt in 13, didn't he?
He was hurt every year. He played. I think 13 was the collapse young year.
Yeah.
And then this year, obviously, who knows when they got to the next round? Who knows?
The Blues series they should have won.
Totally, of course. I mean, but that's Tuukka Rask giving up 2 goals and 4 shots. But anyway, they land on the list. His Bruins land on the list of top 5 losses a lot. So say what you want about Bergeron. His tenure, 20-something, almost 20 years as a Bruin, a lot of underachievement for what he's considered, which is one of the best 2-way forwards of all time.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. We'll talk about those top, unless Bobby, you have a Bruins thought.
I certainly do. Thank God that the season is over and I don't have to hear this shit for at least 4 months.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, the hockey offseason is not what the other sports are, so it will be a few months till we talk Bruins again. So
fucking awesome.
You're welcome, Bobby.
Thank you.
Let's keep the misery going, though. After the break, we'll talk about the top 5 worst Boston sports teams' losses of our lifetime, generationally, somewhere in the modern era. We'll be right back.
The Red Sox finally start winning games and you keep them out. The young core getting together.
God damn it. I need to wait for that Sox team to go in a slump before we talk about them.
Exactly. They have a good 2 weeks, win games. They're three above 500. You're like, out of the show.
Don't question the producers living here. You had the most epic collapse in NHL history. You had the Celtics currently playing. You had a Patriots draft. The Red Sox just didn't make it. Okay,
it's fine. Whatever. It's fine.
It's only May.
It's May. Okay, They're gonna play till October.
That's fine. We don't have to talk about them till August if that's what you want.
By September, you're gonna have the same goddamn take about the Bruins that you have about the Red Sox. We'll do plenty of Red Sox talk. Don't worry about it. We talked about the 5th starter in June 17th.
Excellent. We'll break it down.
Yeah, we'll definitely break it down. Speaking of breaking it down, top 5 Boston sports losses of all time. I gave you, I listed them here. Let me just stay off the bat. Don't give me any particular information, but are we in relative agreement on the 5 to 6 that I listed there, or do we have major discrepancies?
No, I think that's the list.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do is start with the honorable mentions, and just get those out of the way. So I said our lifetime, our generation, but even this one sticks with our generation very much so. As we were younger people before the Red Sox actually started to win, but the 1986 Red Sox lost to the Mets and Bill Buckner. We were basically born in that was like a bedtime story for anybody growing up in New England prior to 2004.
Or something goes between your legs. You fucking got the Buckner.
Yeah. And I would bet you kids these days probably don't even know that anymore.
Probably not.
But
probably don't. Yeah, no. I mean, the amount of World Series the Red Sox have won, they're not not seen as a loser franchise if you're like early 20s or something.
Right. Yeah. No, it's completely flipped. But that one had to be mentioned because It was a major part of certainly of our childhood as baseball fans. You all knew about Buckner. Then I go to I didn't list these in order of like worst to not worst, but
Really special.
I'll try to do it now. I'll give you. I don't really have an opinion on this. 2017 Patriots Eagles.
I mean, as far as
you lose in the Super Bowl, it's a tough loss.
Yeah,
and you have over. What did Brady have?
500 yards, and you get strip sacked with 2 minutes left, and you know they're going to score a touchdown to win the game.
Out of all the Patriots Super Bowl losses, that's probably the one that I would say hurt the least.
Yeah. So also on here is 11 versus the Giants and Mario Manningham.
Yeah,
we shouldn't even been in that game.
Wes Welker.
That one, in some ways, that the second Giants loss was more annoying because it happened again. And it's like I got to listen to these Giants fucks a second time.
I can understand the logic there, but no way. 2007.
I know.
Burn me till the end of fucking time.
I still can't watch highlights of that game.
No, I will never watch that game. 2011, Ray's right. They had the worst defense in the league. Statistically, they were the worst defense in the league. They had no business being in the league. They had 31 out of 32. Okay. Fuck you, Ray. The other one on the honorable mention was 2006 Patriots Colts.
That would hurt because we would have won the Super Bowl again.
21-0 at halftime. You're gonna go on to play Rex fucking Grossman in the Chicago Bears. That's another Super Bowl there. That one to Peyton Manning of all guys. That one hurts.
He got his first because of that. Ugh.
Yeah, that one hurts. Okay, I guess technically this is an honorable mention too, and you can debate me on whether this one lands in the top 5. And I'll give you, and I could be persuaded, but at 6, I had the 2010 Celtics.
That should be on the top 5.
That's okay. That's higher for me. I mean, that's.
Well, we understand your position.
Yeah,
of hockey,
I mean,
and
3
the next
through
3
5.
are hockey.
I mean, I don't even. Come on.
I'll give you my reasonings why the Bruins are above that, but give me your Celtics 2010 loss taking why they're.
I mean, it would have solidified that as more of a historical team with 2 championships as opposed to the 1. And with the whole thing with Perkins' injury, I mean, you could say that if he was there, they win the series. And that game 7, which was more of a wrestling match than a basketball game. It just, that team was just, I was very much into the Garnett, Ray Allen, Pierce Celtics. So yeah, that was fun basketball. It was just a better period of basketball.
And you lost your arch rival. I mean,
exactly. It was the Lakers. Hand in hand. Boston, it was a big series.
I mean, that's huge. I mean, and that tied them back up. Oh no, that made them one behind us for most banners and all that blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that was one of the heartbreaking losses, losing the Lakers. And plus, Perks goes down like that in game 6, and then you get annihilated in that game.
That was
game 7 was really, it was the first year I moved down here to the DC area, and I was sitting in a bar by myself, and the Celtics were winning, until whatever, couple minutes left, and Meta World Peace hit that 3-pointer. The most unlikely of people to hit that 3. Couple minutes left that put it basically out of reach. And yeah, it crushed me at the time. The reason I have them a little bit lower than these Bruins losses, I'll give you this, it's because they won 2 years before. They'd won it. We'd gone since 1986 without a Celtics championship, and they won in 2008, and that was the euphoria. That was like major. That was
possible.
Anything is possible. 2008 Celtics is 2004 Red Sox. Like, that was it. 2007 Red Sox was like, that's nice. They won the World Series again, right? So it's like, that's how I felt like 2010 would have been for the Celtics. The loss, of course, hurts way more than the win would feel good. But the next one I had on this list was the 2013 Bruins, which I can be argued against to flip-flop these. But the reason I put them before that, because what we just talked about with Bergeron, if he collects that, and Bobby, you mentioned it too, with even like the Garnett Pierce era, if they collect that second cup, they move into a next echelon. And if I know you didn't watch, Bobby, but game 6, they had wrapped it like a bow, tied, a couple minutes left, up two goals, a couple minutes left, and within 36 seconds, I think it was, the Blackhawks went and scored 2 fucking goals. 2 easy, simple, cupcake goals against Tuukka Rask. They brought it back to Chicago Game 7 and won it. The way that they lost Game 6, and now looking back on it, the repercussions of it, and not getting that core a second. Chara was on that team still, not getting that core a second championship Stanley Cup. Oh, we just mentioned it in the Bruins segment. It would have set those guys apart. Would have set them to a next level, including Chara, which obviously has been off the team for a while.
Yeah.
And then similar to this year, 2023 Bruins, like you go and set the NHL record of most wins and lose in the first round. I can be argued. I could put the Celtics, that 2010 Celtics, anywhere from there.
I think I think this year's Bruins should be number 3. I think honestly, but
so this is where different. I have number 3, 2019 Bruins. Here's the deal. I don't think the 2019 Bruins and 2023 Bruins are all that different, frankly. 2023, obviously, they set this record, but in the back of everybody's mind as they were doing it was, when are they going to blow this? Back of everybody's mind. 2019, the expectations were so much lower, and they worked their way. Game 7 at home, Stanley Cup Finals. You lose to a team that's worse than you?
Yeah.
That's a killer. At least now it's round 1. You're like, these fuckers. Like, you're not like not watching sports. You're just like, these fucking assholes. Like, you're more mad than like heartbroken.
Yeah, but they have all those accolades this year. Not in 2019. They didn't have any of that.
No shit. It was truly a sports heartbreak. 2019 was truly a sports heartbreak. You watch those 2 goals in the first period of that game of the Bruins 2019 Stanley Cup Finals Game 7. The Bruins outplayed that St. Louis Bruins. They were putting in pucks on net on Binnington, left and fucking right. They should have had 2 or 3 goals in that first period, and then the Blues come down. They took 4 shots and they get 2 goals, and all of TD Garden just went silent, and it was over. It was the most it was truly a heartbreaking loss.
Yeah.
This year is just like, fuck you assholes. Like, show up, man.
Because we knew it was going to happen, like you said. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
The next 2, I think, are undisputable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2003 Red Sox, Aaron fucking Boone, Tim Wakefield, ALCS, Game 7, night. The Yankees go on to the World Series. Obviously, we know what happened after that. 2004 Red Sox.
That was 03. Come back from 03, right?
2004, yeah, they came back from 03 against the Yankees. I was talking to somebody at the bar the other day, a total stranger. And I had this hat on, and the Orioles were on. We're talking baseball, and he goes, man, I'm an Orioles fan, but that 04 Red Sox Yankees is the greatest sporting event in the history of sports.
Yep.
I remember that too. Obviously, 04, we were in college. I don't know if you remember like the little complex area, like that freshman year. There was a riot in that area.
I can see it.
After when they beat it, because obviously I went to college in Hartford, Connecticut, so it's like half New York, half Boston people. There was a literal riot in there. It was, oh my God, it was so intense. I'll never forget that. Oh my God.
I was a couple miles north in Springfield, Massachusetts. There was no riot. It was all euphoria. Everyone just was so shit-faced, naked, running through the courtyards, and it was amazing. But the year before was 2003. In 2003, they left Pedro Martinez and Grady Little for an inning too long. And then Tim Wakefield had to come in and gave up the home run to Aaron Boone. And I'll never forget it. I remember exactly where I was. I was at the Stevens house watching it for some reason. And the home run happened. And I just stood up and walked out.
Later.
And drove very fast for a very long time.
Did you go over Space Mountain when you did that?
Oh, yeah.
She gets me pissed off sometimes. I used to go over Space Mountain a lot.
Like a Plymouth Fury over Space Mountain. And
did you?
Basically dropped the radiator.
I had the GMC Jimmy, and I remember that thing just went. It should have had the shocks on it, and it did. It just went boom, and then come back up. I'm like, oh,
Yeah. And
They shook
dropped
the
it.
camera there and really added the sound effect, the
Thank you.
detail to that.
It was nice, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, 2003 Red Sox are my number 2, and then the unspoken, forever unspoken about 2007 Patriots Giants Super Bowl.
broke my phone that day. I smashed that fucking phone into pieces. I was pissed.
Yeah.
Heartbreak. That hurt the most. And we can't even watch it anymore. The helmet
Yeah,
catch.
same thing in
Harrison should
college.
have ripped it off. Yeah.
In Hartford, half New York fans having to listen to those fucks. Oh God, that was miserable.
Yeah, I had a good friend. It was mostly Patriots, but a good friend of mine was a Giants fan, and we came over and we did a big screen and everything, and we were real cocky and talking a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And to his credit, like didn't go over the top. It was just like handshake, good win. Like then I could hear it. And then I took a 6-pack of beer and went into my own room and just salted the night away. And I could hear him celebrating outside. But yeah, I didn't watch sports. Thank God for the 2008 Red Sox, because I didn't watch sports until basically July of that year. The Red Sox soup to nuts that year were the best team in baseball, and they went on to win the World Series. Otherwise, there's a good chance I would, I don't know, be into classical music or something right now.
Be a whole different podcast.
Yeah, it'd be a completely different podcast. We'd be talking about
the Simple Minds
biology.
Book Club.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mike Lowell. Yeah. Okay, so that's our top 5, Raymond. You got the 07 Patriots, 2003 Red Sox. A lot of debate from there. I'm going to stick with my 19 Bruins. I'll give you 2010 Celtics. I think we agreement they can land there, and then we'll go 2023 Bruins somewhere in.
Yeah, and then 2013 is right on the outside.
Gotcha. It sounds good.
Like
Okay. Afternoon delight. We'll talk a little Patriots draft.
Bobby Bukacki.
Skyrockets in flight. Woo! Afternoon delight. Whoop.
You guys have it, I think.
Afternoon delight.
I don't know, Ron. That sounds kind of crazy.
Now, Bobby Bukacki, this is basically your segment. Do you want me to just list all 12 goddamn picks and we can just
a lot of play. I was floored that they actually drafted 12 fucking people.
Unfucking believable.
I can't believe it.
12 picks. Or
they only have one. They have 89 players right now. They only have one spot left.
Let's do this. Let's without getting into detail of all the picks, because we'll go through them fairly quickly, especially as we get down to the bottom. But let's just give an overall assessment. An overall, I know Bobby you kind of already did your opening take. Just an overall thought of how it went down. Raymond, I'll start with you. Go ahead.
They addressed needs on the defensive side of the ball. Getting a quarterback in Christian Gonzalez, DN linebacker. But yeah, I think you're starting to see that the future, the changing of the guards rather, because there's a lot of old guys on this team, and you're seeing a lot of their replacements coming in, like Jake Andrews. I think the center out of Troy is going to be David Andrews' replacement. So I think you're starting to see that too. The writing's on the wall that these guys aren't going to be around much longer. So they started to stockpile in certain positions like offensive line and corner, stuff like that.
I'll give you my initial take. When I looked at it, I said, I don't really mind it. I didn't really mind the approach. I thought that there were a couple guys that the Christian Gonzalez pick was a nice surprise that they did that. Round 2, Keon White seems like a guy that fits. I didn't even mind the O-line. I think the games are won in the trenches. As a lot of people don't. And then a couple flyers in late. I was like, that's an interesting, good approach. And then I really started to dial in on the fact that they traded up for a fucking kicker.
That's the
Yeah.
And then I started to look at the guys that went in the 3rd round. I think there was like 9 wide receivers or something crazy. And the guys that went around the kicker and the offensive tackles that they could have drafted, but drafted around and didn't do something about. And now it's really started to irk me with what they've done. It's really starting to irk me with how little they really addressed what they really should have done. If they could have gotten one of these guys, one of these tackles, that was available to them, then you might feel differently. Now I even start to second guess the Christian Gonzalez. I know he's supposed to be a stud, but like a cornerback in the first round at 417, what's the track record of that guy working out? Not great. Keon White now is supposed to be like some in between. So you in the second round, you draft a backup in between defensive linemen. It's all starting to make me feel a little bit iffy about the whole fucking thing. And how many offensive linemen are Bobby? You probably know this. Are they still only allowed to play? It's still 5 offensive linemen.
Just the 5.
Got it. So how many are they currently on the roster? 20?
I think they have 16 or 17.
How many fucking offensive linemen do you need on this roster? How
They
many
usually
do you need
carry
to develop?
10 out of 53.
You already have a Winu and Cole Strange as 2 young guys that are coming up. Like,
There's
now
no
you have
chance they
10.
re-sign on Waynu.
It's just like I was not one of these people that said you have to go get the wide receiver that's going to stretch the field or be the playmaker. But and honestly, I have optimism for the wide receivers that they did pick because the expectations are so fucking low. But the more I look at it, the more aggravated I'm getting, frankly. Do you want to add on to your opening take or anything we said, Bobby? Or do you want to go?
Yeah, let me
take it
add.
through the picks.
Christian Gonzalez athletically can run with Stephon Diggs, can run with Tyreek Hill, can run with any receiver in the league. Athletically, he has every tool to be the number 1 corner that the Patriots want. I got no problem with that pick. Keon White, he's a 285-pound linebacker, 285 defensive end. He's really a lineman, not a linebacker that can play tackle end or stand up. Like, he's a Patriots guy. Like, and he's a solid B player. Like, again, athletically, they have this I forget what it's called, relative athletic score of 0 to 10. 10's like perfect, and he scored like a 9.5. So like athletically, he's 285 pounds and can play 3 positions. So it's like he's a Patriots guy. I'm sure he'll be fine.
That's cool, but it's like that guy, and if you want to jump ahead to Marte Mapu,
that's where I have a fucking problem.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah.
I never even heard of this guy, number 1. But again, he's getting relatively positive reviews. That's okay. The main 2 picks that I have a problem with are Jake Andrews and Marte Mapu. I don't have a problem picking those 2 guys ahead, defensive players, because 1, for the Patriots, I think they'll work. Their scheme fits, especially Christian Gonzalez. And in the second round, if you get someone that's basically going to be a guaranteed defensive starting lineman, I'm okay with it. Well, I look at the players that went after Marte Mapu. 2 picks later, Josh Downs. Another pick after that, Tucker Kraft. And then a few picks after that, Darnell Washington. For me, it would have been one of those 2 tight ends. They don't have a tight end under contract next year. They need a 3rd tight end. Mike Gesicki isn't a tight end. He's a large receiver. Like, he might line up in the tight end position. He's not a tight end. So they just obviously deemed those tight ends as undraftable. And they drafted a linebacker that's 215 pounds that played at Sacramento State with a pec injury. Like, what the fuck?
Hurt
A lot of a little wet out there.
And then they draft a center in the 4th round. I'm not even going to truly have a problem with the kicker because Nick Folk is like 39.
Fuck you. You have a problem with the kicker.
He can't kick off.
Don't trade up for a kicker.
He can't. They needed a kicker. They need someone that can kick out of the end zone so we don't give up 2 touchdowns
Not
to
in
the Bills.
4th round. Not in the 4th round.
I can't even.
They
had
traded up for
4th round picks. I can't even say because at least you know what, that guy's gonna play. It's a 4th round pick.
Maybe the Nazi kicker didn't play.
Oh, he was racist. And
he was a
kick.
Nazi.
Yeah,
that's racist. You can't say that. Go ahead,
again,
Bobby.
In the 4th
Bobby
round,
Bukacki, keep
they
the
could have
Bukacki
taken
coming.
a flyer on a potential impact player. So we go down. I don't have a problem with the guards. Kayshon Boutte was the number 2 receiver in his high school class.
I was trying to
Number
get that
2.
in before.
Boutte. He's got true potential.
Booty popping everywhere.
Okay, that was a lot
But
of
he's an
Bukacki.
asshole.
Let's back it up a little bit. Let's back up to Bukacki a little bit.
You can't poop. You can't.
The Keon White, when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, I thought exactly what you did, Bobby. Patriot guy. He's going to be is he going to play this year? Probably not.
Probably.
Dietrich Wise is there.
He'll
Dietrich
probably
Wise is
play.
his
He'll
position.
play in rotation. He'll probably take
Cool.
snaps from
Second round pick for
Quale
a
or
team
whatever.
that has fucking needs. Can you not get a guy that's going to play this year in your second round pick?
Well,
Can you not
he
just
will
draft
play? He's
that
not
fucking
going
guy?
to start. Is he like? And the defensive line that they play 60% of the snaps. That's a starting defensive lineman.
He won't play over Dietrich Wise. He won't.
No,
He won't
not
play
right
over
now.
Barmer. He won't play over Wise. He won't play over Guy. He won't play over, obviously, Judon. He won't play over Uche. He's going to be 5th, 6th, 7th on the depth chart on the D-line as your second-round pick. So
You think
that
they're going to move
started
him
to
around, though?
aggravate me.
You think they're going to start moving him around, though? Like
They're not going to do shit with him. They're going to fucking basically redshirt him.
If
Like
he's
every
that
other
athletic-
rookie that they pick.
If he's that athletic, don't you think you can put him in like a linebacker scheme kind of
Like
thing?
put him on special teams, blocking.
Cool.
The Mapu guy, I was actually positive about the third round pick because of just the shit that I read. I obviously Sacramento State, who knows? But then you start to look at it, and go, you already have these fucking guys. You have Kyle Duggar. You have I'm gonna forget his name. Who's the other linebacker safety that they have? Sorry,
Peppers.
Peppers is one of them. Who's the other
Duggar,
one?
Peppers, Phillips.
Phillips, thank you. You have this guy, and when they first drafted him, I thought I saw linebacker and I saw spin. I said, "Oh, they got a playmaking linebacker." Nope, he's just another Peppers or Phillips. He's too small to actually play linebacker. But a lot of people are hiring him. But he's coming off a pec injury. We'll see.
Titty.
Well, he's like those two players are down the line replacements for next year when they don't re-sign some guys.
Right? It's like
That's what they're doing.
and to the point, and I don't mind that approach in the draft. I really don't. And it's what the Patriots have done forever. They've drafted young guys that won't play for a year or two to take over from guys leaving.
But they have glaring holes that they need.
They don't have enough people that can actually step on the field and play next year in a lot of important positions, which is why I really don't have a problem with the offensive line approach in drafting 3 guys, except none of them are tackles.
Yeah,
So
one of
Broderick-
those 2 guards will replace Onwenu next year because there's no chance they resign him. 0.
I wouldn't put it at 0. They've paid Tooney and they played Mason. They pay their guards.
It's true. That is a fair point that they have paid.
They
their
might
guards.
push him to tackle.
Yeah, if they do that, the price tag's gonna be even higher though.
They could do that.
Not if they pay him as a guard.
Yeah, but if he goes out there, it says I'm a right tackle.
No. Have you been paying attention to what the Patriots do?
No, I know.
They'll pay him as a guard and move him to tackle.
Yeah.
They're also talking about this City Sow.
City
Sow.
Dude, if that's his name, fucking sign me up for this guy. City South.
Yeah, I like it.
Go,
I like
boy.
it. I honestly like all the profiles of all the offensive linemen. They seem like Patriot, like just gritty fucking the Jake Andrews guys. To your point, Bobby, seems like this dude's gonna be a center for the Patriots for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Dude's got enough equipment on him to rival
like a
Patrick
cyborg,
Ewing at
like
the end
you
of his
said.
year. But they talking about putting Sow at tackle. This Tony Mafi, we'll see. He was cousin to, I don't know if you saw this. He's cousin to Asiasi, Devin Asiasi, the tight end.
right.
And they asked him about, so has Asiasi told you anything about the Patriots? And the quote's like, yeah. He said it's cool. A lot of work. Got to come in, get your head on straight. It's like Devin Asiasi was a major fucking failure in this Patriots organization.
Is he still
'cause-
playing in Denver?
I don't think so. He might be.
I think he's out of the league.
No.
Okay, let's move on to your guy, Keishon Booty. So he's an asshole, but considered
So he
number 1
he
pick
was-
last year if he didn't like get in some trouble and get hurt.
After his sophomore year, he would have been a first round or a second round pick. Then he broke his ankle, had a bad recovery, and then Brian Kelly came in and they didn't click. It didn't. It was a bad season for him, whatever it was. So, and coming out of high school, he was the number 2 ranked receiver in the country. So he has actual talent and actual pedigree, and essentially he's healed from his injury. So I like the pick because it's a no risk, high reward. You actually could be getting a player with true talent there. And if he doesn't work, he doesn't work.
What's
Is he
the
an outside
backstory
guy?
on him? Yeah, what's the backstory on him though?
Backstory like what? What part
You
of
said
it?
he was in trouble. Did you say he was in trouble? or
No, it
something?
wasn't that he was in trouble. Him and the new coaching staff did
Oh,
not
with
get
Brian
along.
Kelly, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they did not. So
I didn't know if he was like
Read some things like he slacked off and shit, like just kind of fucked around a little bit off.
yeah, the basically
He doesn't have any
just
law. He doesn't have any
general laziness,
legal.
probably. Yeah,
He's not Pac-Man Jones. He
dare
just
you.
kind
it was
of
quite
my source.
entertaining on the McAfee show. I'd like to add.
the other wide receiver, Demario Douglas, little jitterbug at a Liberty, whatever. I'm going to be honest with you. These two wide receivers in this part of the draft, I like for the Patriots.
They're
They're
athletes.
guys that they're not going to be Jamar Chase this year, obviously, but you look 2-3 years, if the coaching staff stays in place and they can work with them, I would expect production out of them. Somewhere along the line. I just don't know if that's good for what they need right now.
They haven't replaced Aguilar's position. I mean, we swapped out Myers for Smith-Schuster, and Aguilar's out. So essentially, there is one wide receiver spot.
Would that be Tyquan Thornton
available? Well, he was carried on the roster last year with Aguilar. They had 5.
Yeah, but I would expect Tyquan Thornton to take that Aguilar role now.
Oh, I mean the role. Yes, I'm saying that there's like a wide receiver roster spot.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
Yeah,
for sure. And there's plenty of special team slots. So,
well, the team is about 1/3 primarily special teams aces.
Booty, Barringer, who's the other guy? Oh, this next guy, D-back, Amir Speed, who ironically had like the fastest 40 time in the combine, and his last name Speed. Good for him. And this Isaiah Bold, they're all special teams guys, the last several picks, which is what you expect at the end of the draft. But this Speed kid's like a special teams expert. Like that's all he did. Isaiah Speed or Amir Speed out of Michigan State. That's his specialty.
Yeah, he's like 6'2", 6'3". That was the fastest player. Yeah, they're I'm sure they're drafting him. He's probably Slater's replacement.
Totally. I watched it. I read an interview with of the Patriots staff that interviewed him. He's like, all he talked about was special teams. He's like, I didn't quite get on the field with the defense, but special teams. This is what I'm really about. I'm really about getting down there and picking up punts that are never collecting.
Yeah.
I have one tackle in my career because no one takes kickoff the punts anymore. So there you go. And then Isaiah Bolden, where Jackson State University. That's another decent flyer. People have some. Deion Sanders spoke on him. They said he was a pretty good kid. I like a late round undrafted cornerback for Belichick. We'll see Isaiah Bolden next year in the mix for cornerbacks.
Replace Miles Bryant.
Yeah, the problem with everybody basically up and down this roster outside of Christian Gonzalez is you're looking at 2 or 3 years until we actually see them as a major contributor.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Outside
but then Belichick will be gone, and then the new regime will kick all these guys out.
They'll all be fired.
Mm-hmm.
Ray or Bob, do you guys remember the undrafted quarterback that's getting a lot of publicity for the
kid from
out of Louisville?
Billy Cunningham. Yes, it is. These people sicken me. They sign an undrafted quarterback and they're calling it a controversy.
No one's putting respect on Zappy's name. How dare
I know.
they?
Well, first of all, Zappy's the starter, so fuck you.
I'm willing to bend to that at this point. After the Celtic game, Zappy showing up with all the receivers. Juju Smith-Schuster did a press conference saying he hasn't thrown with Mac yet. Mac is still silent.
Bad.
We may have a true
Zap Daddy knows how to play
here.
the game.
I've said this all along. I'm not above the Zappy fever. I'm Team Mac, Captain Mac. Let's give the kid a shot. He's been dragged through the mud. But if he's not doing the right things, he's not doing the right things. I'm not above telling you I'm wrong. I'm just right now. We'll be right back with Simplest Minds of the Week.
Are you stupid or something? I'm as stupid as stupid does.
That was a nice segue because my phrase was dumb, and then we went to Simplest Minds of the Week. We're also very late, so let's Ray, why don't you kick us off with Simplest Minds of the Week, because that's the clear winner.
Yeah, that one's solid.
I woke up this morning to the greatest news of all time. One, Jackson Mahomes is in jail right now. I'm trying to find the article quickly. Here it is. He was arrested for aggravated sexual battery. He was released on a $100,000 bond. Back in February, he groped and forcefully kissed a restaurant owner, and there's videotape of it. The 22-year-old was accused of sexually and physically assaulting the owner of the Aspen's restaurant and lounge when the 40-year-old woman claimed he tried to forcibly kiss her multiple times. Owner also alleged Jackson seemed intoxicated earlier in the night and claims he shoved a male member of her waitstaff. This conviction could carry up to 55 months in prison. So pray for the judicial system to work down there, and he gets his way and goes to fucking jail.
Okay, so I'm just gonna
55
back
months.
up. I'm just gonna back this off a little bit. It's not the greatest news of all time. Some woman got assaulted, so that's not good. Also, some guy was, being a piece of shit. So, the reason why this is being heralded is because Jackson Mahomes
Is a cunt.
Thank you. And the reason we most consider him a
cunt.
see you next Tuesday is because
He is a cunt.
okay. Can we describe why?
Because he does TikTok dances on dead people's memorial on the field. He also poured water all over people in Baltimore. He always hangs out with Mahomes' wife and makes these stupid, cringeworthy TikTok videos. This kid's a cunt. He has a silver spoon in his fucking mouth. He's had it all the way because his dad was in the MLB, and now he's living off his brother's stardom. This kid is one of those kids that doesn't belong there and just rides the coattails of everyone else who's famous and wants the limelight and wants his 15 seconds of fame. So hopefully Big Bubba in fucking jail when he's in there for 55 months gets his 15 minutes of fame when he's fucked up the ass, that piece of shit cunt.
Okay. So
I hate Jackson Mahomes.
yeah, I
hate
know.
him.
Ray has a real
It doesn't show at all.
No,
Ray has
I
a real
fucking
good
hate him.
appetite for hating people that he's never met.
Thank you.
The reason why Jackson Mahomes is hated is, you mentioned a little bit, the silver spoon, never really working for anything, truly representing a Gen Z culture of just popularizing himself based off other people's hard work. And certainly that is commendable to hate if you do so. And maybe he's earned his comeuppance with this shitty behavior, and it's finally come around to haunt him. Certainly a dumb move. Certainly has earned his spot in Simplest Minds of the Week. But alcohol can make you do some shitty things. So,
Oh yeah, we've all been there.
Bobby, any thoughts on Jackson Mahomes?
No, I'm with Ray. I am happy to see him on his way to prison.
I have a couple more. I don't know if these are simple minds or just kind of crazy. One of these headline: Florida man buys $11,000 in fetuses and organs from a hottie in Texas.
When you put that in the email like earlier in the week to like remind yourself of this, I was like, what the fuck is this? And
It's a crazy story. So I'll read a little bit here. An Arkansas woman has pleaded not guilty to charges that, I repeat, not guilty to charges that she sold 20 boxes of stolen body parts from a medical school cadavers to a Pennsylvania man nearly $11,000. It says Pennsylvania, but he's actually from Florida. The April 5th indictment unsealed Friday in federal court in Little Rock, accused of Candace Chapman Scott, 36, previously dubbed Hottie. Go take a look at the picture.
Not hottie. Bad. Baddie.
Thank you for clarifying that, Bobby. A former mortuary worker of setting up the transactions with a man she met through Facebook group about quote-unquote oddities. It goes on to read all of the other shit that they did. But what a wild world.
Why don't people? What can I? If there's an Odyssey group chat that these people are in,
oddity, not Odyssey,
oddities,
not
oddities. I know oddities. Like you're making like weird
not
shit.
like Odysseus.
No, sorry.
No,
But I'm
Greek
just saying, like,
mythology.
why wouldn't you go after those
Oedipus.
people and just be like, you guys are fucked up. Like you're a little loose in the.
Look,
screws
this
are
is
loose
more
in
the
head.
Florida man, Pennsylvania man for me. Like you need some money. You got access to some dead babies. People do crazy shit for money. Who's buying it for what? What's this guy buying? And this is the story never reveals it. Like, what's this guy buying dead baby carcasses for?
You ever see that South Park episode?
No, I don't watch
with the
cartoons.
stem cells,
Nor do I wear jerseys of other grown men that are younger.
They're
than me.
eating the stem cells. That's how Christopher Reeves got healed in the South Park.
I think they have to be live.
It's fucking
dead.
hilarious. I don't know. But,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
it.
I
don't
just, it wasn't just dead baby. It was like weird. It was like arms and like
yeah, it was just limbs and
weird
stuff when I was reading.
and
yeah.
like
He's
and
obviously
livers and
building
hearts.
Frankenstein. I think it's crystal clear.
We've got a
Or
scientist on our hand.
he's never fucked anything, and he's trying to make his own woman.
We got a definitely weird on our hands. All right, one more I want to bring up to you. Here's the headline. Student eats artwork of banana duct tape to museum wall, quote unquote, because he was hungry. This one just made me laugh. And I love this kid.
Was it worth like $22,000 or something like that?
Yeah. So this was like years ago that this made headlines that someone, the art world is so crazy and stupid. That someone duct taped a banana, an unpeeled banana on a wall, and it I don't know, whatever, went viral or became a really famous piece of art. Here, I'm gonna lay this out for you. So this was in a museum, and it was just a duct taped piece of banana, duct taped on a wall. And then someone walked around and found out that it was eaten, and the kid duct taped the peel back on the wall. And then they caught him, and they said, "Why'd you do it?" He said, "I was hungry." It was not an act of stupidity. Clearly, the kid knew what he was doing. It was an act of. I think he went on to double down, like, well, this was my act of art, so maybe he was a bottom of the totem pole dumb, like just doubling down on his stupidity. The part that got me is the art side of it. What they did is they took the peel off and they put another banana with a piece of duct tape.
That's not art.
How is that art?
That's not art. That's not fucking art.
Just replacing another banana with another piece of duct tape because some fucking asshole kid ate your banana off the wall.
I mean, don't they have to constantly replace the banana or it's gonna like rot?
You have to. Yeah, now you've been exposed. Now your art's been exposed. How the fuck is that art? I love the kid though. I was hungry.
Touche. I'm on his side.
And they put the peel back. The picture of the peel back with
the art community is a weird community, man.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people with a lot of time and money on their hands. And then lastly, I had here, there was a New York woman that got run over by her own car. Enough said. That's about it. That's about it.
Good for her.
That's about
it. And apparently she got a ticket for it.
Yeah, she got a ticket for unregistered vehicle after that. So way to go.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been the Simple Mind Sports Show, Friday Rewind.
May the 5th.
Cinco de Mayo.
Why aren't you looking at the top right corner of your screen?
It was blurry.
Cinco de Mayo.
Adios.
¿Cómo
Adios,
está?
amigos.
Bien, et tú? Muy excelente.
Marty! You've got to come back with me! Where? Back to the future!
Hello.
Here we are.
Boys.
Gentlemen.
How's it
Good.
going?
Good.
Ray, you look good. You shave?
Mm-hmm. Shave my nuts, shave my face.
That's the thing. You did. That's 2 weeks in a row you've each shaved.
Did you shave your nuts too?
I have not shaved my nuts in a little bit.
No.
How
I'll have
often
to
are you doing the
straggle
man
these down
grooming
there.
these days?
It's like once a quarter.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's really just an uncomfortable level for me.
Mm-hmm. Once
Like
the
when-
taint gets a little like unbearable, it's like that's when you know you gotta just trim it up.
Yeah, the taint stuff, it's like the inner thigh kind of area that's like gets sticky and itchy and like
Especially this time of year where it's starting to get
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you really need to shape up.
Mm-hmm. That's all it is for. It's because I get a like nice little rash down there because of the chafing of my thighs. You know what I'm talking about.
I got you, baby.
Bobby doesn't know. Bobby with that silky smooth skin, he doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about.
No.
No, I'm pretty hairy down there. I'm just listening to you discuss it in detail now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's getting hard listening to us.
Yeah, yeah. Based
Show me
off the
those hands,
previous thing,
Vine.
I'm
Show me
generally
those
at a
hands.
half
Yeah,
mast.
show those hands, Vine. Show me those wigwam making hands. What else was new? Anything else? Big of the fuba, tasty of the chalupa.
Fuck yeah. You know that, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. You know that's right. No, nothing else. You?
Nothing to announce.
Oh, I found out I can't fucking tag you and stuff anymore. That hurt.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Keep that on the deal. Making moves in the world. Oh, I'll tell you this: I'm officiating. I'm officially a wedding officiant.
Who's
I
wedding?
am that's to be disclosed. Butch.
Ah!
I officially have married somebody, and on Friday I will have it in the books, and it will be on my resume that I will officiate a wedding. So,
Where's that go in your resume?
Very nice.
right at the fucking top.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Newsflash for anyone listening: don't get married in Virginia unless you're very religious or you live in Virginia. They don't like outsiders. They don't like non-Christian outsiders coming into their spot and linking up folks.
I can understand that. Especially with the guy with that mustache coming down there. Fucking
Yeah. On their first wedding.
I mean, you'd think a guy that looks like me, dresses and acts and says shit like me would be like welcomed in a place like that, but nay, no.
Really?
I don't have the religious background to pass the test apparently, or the state license. So
Where'd they get married? In a field or something? Or like
had a skirt around it. There are details that I'm not at liberty to say, but we skirted around it. We got around the law.
Oh boy.
Fuck the man. Speaking of fucking the man, what do you say we start the show? The Simple Minds Sports Show, latest and greatest in New England sports news and opening takes.